Good morning. You're getting poked by Laura. Welcome. If anybody is brave enough to come back every single day and get poked by me, I applaud you. Although, if we're being real in real life, if you had the honor and the privilege of being poked by me, you would want to come back every day. I wouldn't let you. It's not good for you. It's not good for your chi cycle or your jing or anything else. It's too much. So we would need, unless you were in a car accident, you hurt your neck, or, you had a broken arm and we were helping you to heal, sure. Yeah. But it wouldn't be acupuncture every single day. Definitely not. More like herbs and lamps and mats and Tuina and maybe some cups and maybe some 7-star bleeding. Yeah, you'd like all that stuff. That's a lot of hands-on relaxation, just deep passive healing. It's the best kind. I love deep passive healing. Anyway, so I'm a little bit on one. First of all, it's freaking snowing. It's really snowing. The ground is covered. I can no longer see the grass. It is, what's the freaking date today? What's the date today? The 8th. You're not going to hear this on the 8th because I record ahead of time. But it's April 8th. And, yeah, it's Vermont. This is how it goes. Anyway, I didn't want to drink coffee alone today. I've been really alone, stupid alone. So I decided to go on a live, and when I go on lives now, I kind of stopped doing them after the TikTok banana thing. It just ruined it for me. So when I go now, I go to talk about the podcast and to talk about medicine and education. That's why I go. And anyone not interested in that conversation isn't going to be, in the live. So it's cool because I get to meet new people. Anyway, we were having a good conversation today in the live, and I got real heated. I was legit yelling. I'm sure my neighbor upstairs was like, what is going on down there? I was popping off, okay? For real. And then, so I get off the live just a few minutes ago, and I kind of sat here and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Because now I'm kind of worked up, in my passion for what I'm doing, for what this podcast is about, for my true intention. My true intention is to educate. My true intention and desire is to educate as many people as possible, to reach as many people as possible through people hearing my authenticity and also my particular perspective. I do not think I am the solution. I think I am a part of the solution, and I'm offering it freely. And I am having faith in the fact that if I do that with my full heart, which I really need to do, I feel so called to do it, that I will be supported, that I will find what I need for myself and my son to continue to survive inside of a home with food, because that's a real threat for us at this point with the way things have gone. But I'm no longer coming from that place of deprivation or fear. I'm just not. It's been too long. So I'm coming from my true intention, which is to help my fellow citizens, to offer the full weight of my full education, knowledge, and ability to communicate that knowledge. So we got talking about stuff. Somebody came in the room and asked me if I was a particular type of paradigm discussion. The term was am I an anti-vaxxer? And when I hear things like that, I have to assume, I've been on live for so long that I have to take a step back, because I have to remember that people are meeting me for the first time, and that this might not be someone who's just trolling. This might actually be someone who wants to know something, right? They're using terminology and language that is out there, but it triggers me. So I kind of slowed down. I almost blocked them, my finger. I was like, don't block them yet. All they did was ask a question. Let's use this as an opportunity to talk. So one of the points we came to, I was talking about how we're not educated about our bodies. And even in basic, simple things where I saw neighbors turn against neighbors over masks, I'm like, but where's the national campaign from our medical associations, from our government? Where's the public health campaigns that are on the radio, that are on the TV 24 hours a day, that run constantly to teach people what is a droplet disease? What is an airborne disease? How do masks work? How do they not work? How do we wear them properly, right? There was no public education, and yet we're all screaming at each other about how stupid we all are. Well, yeah, You know, I said the way that misinformation works is by no information. Misinformation works in the vacuum of no information, no education. And when it comes to health and well-being, in basic ways, basic anatomy and physiology, where are your organs? How do they work? How does your immune system work? What is germ theory? What is the difference between an aerosol and a droplet disease, infection? What's the difference? These are things my 9-year-old understands. Most people in the public do not, and you know what? It's not their fucking fault. We don't teach it. We don't teach it. Our systems, our supposed public systems here to help us, don't educate people. But then you have politicians talking down to people. And then you have turf wars and you have color wars. For what? Because people aren't educated on everything is coercion. Everything is coercion. Do you agree to this phone agreement? How many of you read that every time? When you go into a doctor's office and you have pages and pages and pages, you read all that? Listen, some people do. Okay, some people do. Do you think most people do? And you have to sign those things to get the thing that you need to get, or that you think you need to get. So we're all coerced every day with no real education, with no real informing. And so I absolutely refute and refuse to participate in these divisive arguments because they are pointless, they are worthless, they do not educate, and it is the fault of our public service, communal, health, social awareness policies. Like, we don't have them. The only thing that we seem to value anymore is money, commercials, selling everything, selling the airways, selling our health, selling everything. Just sell. I mean, really, it's a bottomless pit. I could go on. So anyway, I get off and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And here I am 7 minutes in. Obviously, I know what I'm talking about. And I open up my little journal here that has some of the topics and some other notes that I've taken. And I opened it up to a page that I have not seen it. As much as I flipped through this, somehow this page has escaped me until today. And it's a list of video blogs. And the first thing is my bio. So I have a list of video blogs I want to do. This is from like years ago. Bio, Laura, the Midwestern skeptic. That's me. Next one, small things, big changes. You can see I haven't changed much. Quartz, smells, needles, Western versus Eastern thinking. Don't know what that means, but I mean, I could break it down. And then this. What's the exit strategy? That's the title of it. Drugs, herbs. There are so many things undiscovered by individuals, yet sometimes skepticism can block us from truly learning the unknown. Who says something also makes a difference, right? Oh, who says things also makes a difference, right? A stranger, your mom, an MD, a physicist, your teacher, your coworker, your neighbor, all carry different authority and credibility in our minds. We listen and receive differently. One issue with people like me is that we have no reputation. We have no standing. People don't know about us. And so because we're saying something different, the skepticism is immediately very high. Then when we speak or agree with an MD, we sound perhaps a bit credible. But if we offer a differing view of things, which I do frequently, skepticism may take hold. So that was my last idea for a blog that I wanted to do. And we were literally just talking about this, right? Like, I had somebody come in my room during my live, and I mean, honestly, like, I don't really understand the point of going in and saying negative things to people. I really don't, especially when they're just like yucky words, like they don't actually hold meaning or do anything useful at all. So it was that kind of a person that came in and said, oh, so you're a blah, 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 or whatever. And I was like, yeah, this is what I do. And they were like, oh, blah, 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 carry on. It's like somebody just walking up to you, you know, in the middle of the street. I think people don't get that. And just being fucking rude and not knowing a damn thing, but just expressing their complete ignorance to you for some reason. Like I'm used to that. I don't get it as much anymore, but I mean, I live amongst the woods and the deer and the birds. So there's really nobody to do it with. Anyway, I didn't really have a huge point in this one. This was not one of my planned recordings. Maybe I'll put it up as something extra. I don't know. But in the absence of actual information, misinformation works. Like, we don't educate people from an early age, and we don't do it on purpose. How can you expect people to understand Western pathophysiology and pharmacological drugs to any degree of confidence when our government, first of all, has a history, a documented, admitted history of harming people severely? Do you know the history of African Americans in this country in medicine? Men, women, babies. Did you know that Western medicine had an official policy until not that long ago that babies couldn't feel pain, that Black people couldn't feel pain, and they justified doing things to them that were barbaric and inhumane, disgusting? But like, that's the same systems, right? So there are good reasons to question and to not trust. This isn't a relationship based in trust, you know? And it's also an arrogant, if we want to use TikTok terms, narcissistic form of medicine. It denies all else. It denies all other. It's like Alan Watts. I say this a lot. You can look through a telescope or a microscope or a pair of glasses or your bare naked eyes, or you can look in the dark or in the daylight. Which one of those is correct? They're all correct. They're different. Western medicine, allopathic medicine, Western science is not the only way. There are other ways of looking at things that are not only valid, they explain a lot. And this medicine, unlike Western medicine, which is about 150 years old, going all the way back to bloodletting, right? Like when they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. That's how old this medicine is. This medicine that I practice is 2,000 years old, if you're conservative. If you're more realistic, it's closer to 5,000 years old, at least. And we are so arrogant. But we are arrogant because we are ignorant, because we do not have information. Misinformation thrives in an environment of no information. Misinformation thrives in an environment of no education. So what I wish, if there's one narrative I could push for everyone, is to stop participating in the binary. If you are someone who says this and not that, this and not that, that and not this, I really want to invite you to come out of that space into a more neutral language and to be really honest with yourself, about what you actually know and what you actually don't. It is okay to admit that you are ignorant. It is okay to admit that you don't know things. It is okay to admit that you don't know where the organs are in your body or how they work. I don't know why people think that they know things that they don't know. If I say to the average person, tell me about your small intestine and how that works in your body. Tell me the difference between the small intestine and the large intestine. What's the difference between those two and how they work? Where's the jejunum? Where does your gallbladder live? Like, right, literally our own bodies, we don't know where things are. We are devoid of information. And then these arguments are created around very complex concepts and science. They're not so complex that everyday people can't understand, but you have to have a foundation of knowledge and information to truly understand. Otherwise, it is not true consent. We live in a society of coercion. And I know that I'm getting really deep lately, but it's so central to really feeling these things I'm saying, to understand why this shift is needed, why people like me are needed, why you need to, even if you don't like me and what I do, think about the fact that I exist and that there are more people like me out there, and that we need to encourage other people to do this, to educate, because we're not going to be able to buy everything. You know, we're going to have to come together and be communal and really help one another and be able to rely on one another for basic things with our health and feeling better and healing, so we can avoid bigger consequences, because we're not going to necessarily have these systems. I mean, we already kind of don't, right? In this country, we really don't. And believe it or not, you can be well in very large degree and heal in very large degrees and with more confidence the more you understand how much power you actually have. But we are separated from that knowledge. We are separated from these basic truths. And I'm going to go back to the beginning and say, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. And I will scream it from the mountaintops like I did today on my TikTok live. And I will continue to do it until people understand that you don't have to agree with everything I say. You don't have to even like me, but at least support and understand the idea in me and in others that we really need to step forward. And I am stepping forward. Was I forced into this place? You bet your ass I was. I made good money. I loved my life. I loved my job. I loved my practice. I had stepped out of the corporate realm, but you know what? I was still stuck in capitalism. I had to operate my business within capitalism. And I did give away service. I did run a Peter Pan type business, right? Where I took money from people who had it and who were willing and able to pay. And then I gave to people who couldn't. But in such a small amount. You know, I did it in my way, but I still had to survive. And now everything's been taken from me. I'm on the verge of who knows what. Not good stuff. And I have been for 5 years, and it hasn't changed. It has not changed. The precariousness is still there. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? I can't be afraid. I can't be nervous. I can't run anymore. To the next, I just can't. My son and I are tired, you know? So I'm going to have to just do what I can, which is share, give, educate, do it from the mountaintops, light my fire, get loud, be passionate. Allow that to come through, because I've been chill and I've been waiting and I've been patient and I've been working and plugging. And you know what? It's time to take the lid off. Okay, so that's why I'm here. Thanks for sharing me. Thanks for listening. Become a member on Patreon if you can, please. I love that place. You may not. So I put my videos up on TikTok. They're there too. I'm putting some episodes on Spotify, not everything, because I want people to participate. But I don't know, share, and I don't know, who knows, maybe I will. Maybe I'll be huge on Spotify. Maybe I'll get my 1 billion followers on Spotify. Why not? I'm here for it. I'm all about it. Let's manifest. Okay, you got poked. Bye.